A life cycle. What is it? A life cycle is the stages a living thing goes through during its lifetime. Now remember kids, a living thing is a plant, animal or human that is alive, unlike your chair or iPad. These stages a living thing goes through are important changes that help it to keep growing and surviving into adulthood, much like a baby grows into a child, then a teenager, then an adult. The reason all living things have life cycles is to reach maturity and eventually reproduce to help their species survive. The stages of a life cycle can be very different depending on the animal or plant it happens to. Let's take a look at some examples.
Hi, my name is Billy the Duck. My life cycle began inside an egg that was laid by my mother. She spent about 1 month sitting on it to keep it warm while I was growing inside. When I was ready to hatch from the egg, I was called a hatchling. I used the sharp part of my bill to crack open the egg. It can take between 3 to 24 hours for a hatchling to break out of the egg. When I grew a little more, I became a duckling. In this stage of my life cycle, I learned to fly and gather my own food and water. I grew more feathers and kept growing even bigger. When I was around 1 year old, I became an adult duck. This is the last stage of my life cycle, and I stay an adult duck for years and years. I can now build my own nest and lay an egg of my own. This is how the duck life cycle keeps going. Now, let's look at the life cycle of a bean.
The life cycle of a bean starts with a seed. It is not dead but rather dormant and has everything it needs to grow into an adult flowering plant. Then the seed changes into a bean sprout, where the first roots begin to sprout out from the seed. The bean sprout then changes into a seedling, where more roots begin to grow and they grow further and deeper into the ground. The seedling also begins to grow a stalk above the ground, and the first leaf starts to grow as well. The seedling then grows into a beanstalk, where the stalk grows taller, more leaves begin to appear, and the roots continue to grow deeper into the soil. The beanstalk then finally grows into an adult flowering bean plant, where the bean plant grows flowers which are then pollinated by insects so that the flowers can become beans. If these bean seeds are planted, then a new plant will grow, continuing the life cycle on and on and on.
As you can see, some life cycles are very different.
It takes me 1 whole year to become an adult. It only takes you 2 months.
Yes, but my life cycle has 5 stages. Yours only has 4.
Yeah, and we start out differently too. You start as a bean seed and I come from an egg.
Well, we both end up as adults.
Yeah, but being adults means different things for both of us. When I'm an adult, I've reached my full size, but you're going to keep on growing.
And once we're adults, we can reproduce.
That's right, Bean. If we didn't reproduce, eventually there would be no more little ducks or bean plants. So once again, a life cycle is a series of changes a living thing goes through during its lifetime. All living things have life cycles, as they are important changes that help a living thing to grow. The life cycle of different living things can be very similar, but also very different.